Hi everyone, I'm Amy from Cakes with Faces and welcome back to my Japanning series of tips and advice to help you plan your trip to Japan. And today is something some of you have asked for: when's the best time to go to Japan? Now I think there's 4 things to consider: special events, the weather, crowds and prices, and I'm going to talk you through each of them. If you want more help for planning your trip, all my Japanning videos are together in a playlist on my channel, and there's loads of ideas for things to do on there as well. There's new videos every Thursday if you want to subscribe. So let's get started. Special events. I'm going to start with the most popular thing, which is of course the cherry blossoms, the sakura. They're actually quite early at the end of March or start of April, and they're not always at exactly the same time. They can be early or late, and they don't last for very long. That's part of why they're so special, because they're so beautiful, but you know they're going to be gone in a couple of days. So they can be quite difficult to catch. They publish a cherry blossom forecast online, which tells you when they're going to bloom in different parts of the country. So you can go north or south to catch them, and there are varieties that bloom earlier or later. When I went in April, I thought we were going to be too late, especially as they bloomed early that year. But then, as I knew we might catch them, I got a kind of cherry blossom fever and started looking up all the best spots. Then when we were in Fukuoka, I found this one cherry blossom tree and I was so excited. There were people laughing at me as I took this picture. And then when we got to Osaka, we managed to catch the cherry blossom festival at the Mint, and it was so good. Not because of the flowers, but because of just the whole atmosphere and how excited everyone was and all the food stalls. It was so good. There's a video on my channel. Someone in the comments said someone told them it's not worth going to Japan unless you go in cherry blossom season. Now that is not true at all. There's so much more to see and do in Japan, and cherry blossoms are just one thing. And something to consider is because everyone wants to see them, it's going to be a lot more crowded than usual at that time. If you like flowers, there are loads of other different types at different times of year that are just as beautiful. That's why I did this drawing. It shouldn't all be about the cherry blossoms. So just before the sakura, in late February, there's the plum blossoms, which are a deeper pink colour. There's the wisteria in April and May. They make tunnels of them with all the purple flowers hanging down. There's the hydrangea in June and July. And all around Japan there's flower parks where they plant whole fields full of colour. They're really beautiful. Now the other thing a lot of people go and see is the autumn or fall colours. Now autumn's quite late in Japan, so they're around November time. They have a lot of red-leafed trees and maple trees, and they're really beautiful. You can look up the best spots to see them and take pictures. Now the other special events you might want to catch are festivals or matsuri. There's actually loads of festivals all year round in different areas, so there's a good chance you'll be able to catch one. Especially there's lots in the summer. Now it is really hot and humid in the summer, but if you do brave the humidity, your reward is you'll get to go to lots of festivals with dancing, people wearing yukata, that's summer kimonos, street food stalls, kakigori, shaved ice, and fireworks. I saw a video the other day and Japanese fireworks are so good. They had some types that I'd never seen before. One that I would like to see, but probably never will because it's too hot for me there in July, is Mitama Matsuri at Yasukuni Shrine in Tokyo. They have walls of thousands of lanterns in the evening and it looks so magical. If you want to see more, there's a live stream on Only in Japan Go. Something else that's only in the summer is nagashi somen. You sit by a bamboo shoot that's like a kind of gutter with water in, and they flow noodles along it to you, and you have to catch them with your chopsticks to eat them. It looks really fun, but that is also only in the summer. Japan is really into seasonal things, which I think makes them more special. So anyway, to find out what festivals are on when, just search for festivals, the place you're going, and the month. So like festivals, Tokyo, October, and they'll all come up. There's a site called japanvisitor.com that has some really good lists. It's not that well known, but I really enjoyed the Koagawa Festival in October. It's quite close to Tokyo, and I was just blown away by how many food stalls there were. There's a video about it on my channel. And if you go in October, you'll get to see lots of cute Halloween stuff. Halloween is of course Western, but it's really caught on in Japan, and you'll see loads of sweets and snacks and cute characters and photo spots. I did a video spotting them all, And if you're there for Halloween itself, they have parties and parades. They look really busy and kind of crazy, but also lots of fun. Now, Christmas isn't a holiday off work in Japan, but New Year's is. So if you're there over New Year's, some things might be closed for a day or two. That includes some tourist attractions and some shops and restaurants. It's sort of a quiet time where people go to temples and shrines and spend time with their family, so just watch out for that over New Year's. Then when the shops open again, you get the chance to get fukubukuro or lucky bags. It's a bit like the January sale where you get a lot of random items for a cheap price. You might have seen there's loads of videos about them. Some people go a bit crazy for them. Another special thing you can see in the winter is winter illuminations. They're not just for Christmas. Some of them carry on until February or March. One time I wouldn't visit Japan is during Golden Week. That's at the end of April, start of May. There's several bank holidays and a lot of people tend to just take the whole week off, a bit like the Christmas holiday. That means that trains and tourist attractions are going to be busier than normal because people are going out with their friends, travelling around because they're not at work. I have had messages from people who've been during Golden Week and said it wasn't necessarily that bad and they kind of enjoyed the special events that were going on. But if you don't like crowds, it's definitely a time to avoid. Before I carry on, if you find my videos helpful and you want to say thank you, you can support me by making a purchase from my shop, cakeswithfaces.co.uk. Everything is my original design and lots of them are inspired by Japan and kawaii style. There's worldwide shipping so you can order from any country. Thank you for your support. I couldn't carry on doing this without you guys. Now back to the video. The next thing to consider is the weather. Now, I always forget that you guys are from all different countries around the world, so you've all got different ideas of what sort of temperatures are comfortable. So to help other people, if you've been to Japan, tell me in the comments what time of year it was and what you thought of it. Most people tend to agree that spring and autumn are the best times of year for weather. The summer gets really hot and humid and really uncomfortable. Now, I don't think I could cope with that, especially walking around all day. Even the start of October was a bit humid for me. It made my hair go all fuzzy. This was in Kyoto right at the start of October. So what about the winter? To me, Japan seems to have quite a short winter. October was a lot warmer than at home in the UK. I'd never be able to wear a summer dress in October in England. And spring seems to start a lot earlier as well. I'll be making a video about how cold it is in winter. I'll probably put it up a bit closer to the winter time, so look out for that. It is worth remembering that Japan's a long country, so it spans several different climates. So up in the north and in Hokkaido, it's going to be snowy for several months of the year, whereas in Tokyo, it might only snow once or not at all, and the winter's a lot milder. When you get to Kyoto and Hiroshima and Kyushu, it's going to be a few degrees warmer. And then down in Okinawa, the Hawaii of Japan, it's like summer all year round. What I do is I check the climate charts, just do a search for like weather, Tokyo, July, and it tells you the average temperatures. And on sites like AccuWeather, you can see what the weather was like last year for the dates you're thinking of. Remember that it can rain at any time of year. You can't really avoid that, unfortunately. There's always a chance you'll have a rainy day or two. It actually rains a bit less in the winter. One time I would avoid is the rainy season, which is mid-June through July, where it rains a lot more than average. However, the first 2 weeks of June are one of my favourite times to go. It's really warm and lovely, and it's like the height of summer in the UK. But it is a bit of a risky time in case the rainy season starts early. Another time to watch out for is typhoon season, which is technically June all the way through to October, but the peak months are August and September. When there's a typhoon, it's really rainy with strong winds. Now, as I'm sure you know, typhoons can be natural disasters, but they're not always that bad. It can just be rainy and windy. When I was in Kyoto in October, there was a typhoon headed for us, but then it diverted and went off towards Korea, and it was just rainy for a day. With typhoons, it's a bit like with earthquakes. You can't control whether they're going to happen. They either will or they won't. So if you think it's something you're going to worry about, just don't go at that time of year. Next, crowds. Tourism to Japan has increased so much over the last 8 or 9 years. It's actually unbelievable. Now, crowds bother some people more than others, but I just find it so much more pleasant to be somewhere and be able to enjoy it without there being crowds of people everywhere. When I posted my video about TeamLab Borderless, the digital art museum, a few people commented that it looked really empty compared to when they went. Now, I went in February, so it was the winter, and I hadn't really thought about it before, but the advantage to going in the off season is that things are going to be a lot less crowded, so you can enjoy them a bit more, and not everything's going to be fully booked. Although the Hamtaro theme cafe was still fully booked, so I couldn't go, and I'm still very sad about that. So when is the off season in Japan? The winter months, that's December, January and February, are the quietest times, and you'll also get some quite good prices for flights and hotels then too. The busiest times are cherry blossom season, of course, that's late March, early April, and the autumn colours in late October and November, because that's when the guidebooks tell everyone to go. Also for 2020, watch out for the Olympics because it's going to be busy at that time. Finally, prices. Now, I'm no expert on how to get the cheapest flights. I wish I was, but they do vary depending on when you go. Obviously, the less popular times are going to be cheaper. So if you're flexible with your dates, you can get a better deal. When I went in February, they were the cheapest flights I'd had so far because it was the winter, the off season. Of course, we were going for the Sapporo Snow Festival, and because everybody wants to be in Sapporo at the same time for that, it meant the hotel prices were about 3 times as much as normal. And my best advice for times like that is just book as early as you can before the cheapest hotels are booked up. And I always get tempted by the cheaper flights at the end of April, and then I remember it's Golden Week, which is really busy, so don't get drawn in by them. So I hope you found that useful. Really, there's good and bad things about all different times of year, so if you've already booked your trip and I've just said it was a time you should avoid, don't worry too much. You're going to Japan, I'm sure you'll have a wonderful time anyway. If you want to see my other Japlanning videos, they're all in a playlist on my channel, and there's new videos every Thursday. If you want to subscribe, click the bell and it'll tell you when they're up. And if you've been to Japan, tell me in the comments what time of year it was and what you thought of it. I'll see you next week. Bye bye.